It seems like since the bye, Akella Witherspoon has had 3 pretty good games in a row. What's been your perspective on him?
It started before the bye week, to be honest. I know it doesn't always show up. He had a couple of PIs against the Giants or whatever, but he's been gradually getting a lot better and getting refocused and just understanding that in this league, the 3 most dangerous words are "I got it," and as soon as you think you've got it, you've lost it. So he's got great intent, and he's got his mindset, the same mindset he had a year ago, and when he plays with that mindset and builds into it, and it's a good lesson for everybody. You never have it in this league. Teams are always trying to find you, and as soon as you let them find you, they'll find you. So he's been good.
How do you think he is at learning that lesson now that he sort of had similar success at the end of last season, and then it didn't necessarily carry over to the first half of the year?
Same. If he ever thinks he's got it, he'll lose it. Don't take it for granted. Always hone in on your craft. Always study yourself more than you do your opponent, and understand what you're putting on tape, and really evolve your game to the third step in our teaching progression. Understand what offenses are trying to do to you, not necessarily what they're running, and what you're putting on tape that could expose what you're doing. So he's got to continue to grow. That's what makes the great ones great.
You mentioned last week that you see the biggest growth from start 1 to start 2. Did you see that in Marcel?
Yeah, we sat up here and talked about it last week. What we would like to see most, and that was his tackling. Finish some of the tackles that he had missed against Seattle, and he did. And so now he gets to see Seattle again. They've got 3 really, really good backs, and so it's the same thing. How much more can you progress? And now he's got to go get the ball. So just continue to keep getting better. So,
what do you think clicked for DJ Reed?
DJ, he's a good football player. He had an opportunity to go out there and play, and he's an instinctive player. He's had some opportunity throughout the season to go play, and I'm excited for him. I'm glad he got his opportunity and he showed up.
We were asking the players on your defense yesterday, what's the key to stopping the Seahawks? And they said it's the same thing. You got to stop the run. You got to set the edges. What's the key in that facing them this week? What do you guys have to
it's
see?
the same, and they had 7 carries for over 110 yards when they broke our edges. And so it's gap discipline and making sure that you set edges on the defense with a great lockout and extension, and keep the ball in the chute and go tackle. And when you tackle, you got to arrive violently. And their other 22 carries went for 50-some yards. So they're a very, very good running team. Their 3 backs are probably the most underrated trio of backs in football, in my opinion. But Russell obviously is no slouch. So they've got a dynamic offense. They look pretty good. They got a great philosophy to what they're doing right now, and so it's going to be exciting for
What's
the
the book on
challenge.
stopping Russell as a runner, and how does he make that rushing attack tougher to stop?
From a running standpoint, it's mostly with Russell when he drops back to pass and the play breaks down, and now he extends plays. He gets off schedule. That's where Russell's his most dangerous. Obviously, he could always tuck it and run, which he does, but he's most dangerous when he goes off schedule and on a pass play. And it's you've got to get great pocket push. You got to have great lane discipline in your rush lanes, and the big thing is you got to have extension and lockout, even in pass plays where if you let them into your body and where they can tug and hold you, he's going to escape. So they've got an art to it, the way they teach your scramble rules, the receivers and all that stuff. So they've been doing it for a long time, and they're really efficient.
Their run game really took off when they started using that heavy package, so with Fant in there more. What kind of challenge is that? How do you attack that when you see that out there?
He's a big boy, so you got to, it's not like a normal tight end that you can just knock back and ragdoll. So he's an added element where he creates push and strain. So it's a good element. They're very deliberate in what they're trying to accomplish, and they're very effective at it too. So.
What did you see when you watched Marcel Harris on tape in 2016 at Florida?
Violence, speed, no hesitation. He's a very physical defender, and so he's showing what he showed on tape. He's got a long way to go for sure, but he's exciting to work with.
Rewatching the draft video, some of the commentators said he might have been a 3rd or 4th round pick had he been healthy. Is that similar assessment to what you have?
I don't know. Because he could easily just balled out too and been a first rounder. You never know how those things turn out. But and especially he never got the test, so I don't know about all that. I do know that we really liked his tape and felt like he was someone that could contribute to what we're trying to get done.
Now that you're seeing Contavious Street on the field for the first time, what would have been your first impressions of him, and if you can forecast 2019 where he's going to fit in?
I'm not ready for the second part of the question, but I am excited to get him out there. So he's excited to get out there, and there's really no expectation. Just get out there, get your go through drills, and he's still trying to feel and understand the drills. Think about it, he hasn't run a drill in over a year, so just to give him that ability to just get in and go through the process and progress, and then next year we'll have a very clear idea of what he
Bigger
needs.
body guy.
He is. He's
Obviously a lot
bigger
of
body,
power.
great athleticism, a lot of explosiveness, at least from tape, and he'll all that stuff will come back as he gets more comfortable with his knee. But what he showed on tape in college was a lot of explosiveness, great body balance, good lean, quickness, and the big thing is strength. I mean, the guy's he's very strong. So.
How pleased were you with the effort against Philip Lindsay, and how do you replicate it?
I'm always happy with the way our guys play in terms of effort. I'll never question our group's effort. It's just the mindfulness of what we were trying to get done from a run game standpoint, everyone being disciplined and doing your job. That was kind of the key with Denver, getting back to the fundamentals and what makes us good. And so it's no different. Every once in a while it can slip, and when you slip against a really good team like we did 2 weeks ago, bad things happen. So just reconnecting to what our fundamentals and what we teach, and being disciplined as individual football players doing your job. So effort-wise, it's always there. Our guys play hard. They don't know any better. So I'm excied to see them do it again.
You mentioned that the running backs trio there at Seattle is underrated. What have you seen from them, specifically from Rashad Penny, who has had an increase in his production the last few weeks?
So Rashard, he's a dynamic runner. He's got all the you can see the talent for sure. And then for all of them, they've got speed to break it outside. They've got strength to push it inside, and they break tackles. They make people miss. They've got breakaway speed. They complement each other really well, and you could tell that they feed off of each other in terms of what each other's getting. So it's a cool, I shouldn't say little, it's a cool group they have, to be honest with you.
Question in hindsight, but going back to Akello, I don't know what options you would have had for this, but would have been better to create competition for him in the offseason as far as, hey, you're not necessarily a starter.
Competition is always good. It's healthy for everyone from top down. It doesn't matter. Competition is the greatest motivator. The only people who don't care about competition are those who are internally motivated. And so, to answer your question, yes. And that's all the way throughout the roster, throughout coaching staff, everybody. Doesn't matter. So.
With Harris playing well and with Tart having started his last game at free safety, is that a combination that you're looking at for next year, that safety duo of Harris and Tart?
We're trying to get guys on the football field to see where they fit and how they can play and how they can step up, but trying to see who can break the door down in terms of adding to the competition for next year. So Marcel showed up, did a really, really good job, and he's making a case that he belongs in the conversation for next year in terms of whatever position, and same thing with Tart. He's once the season's over and we can go back and evaluate all the tape, all those decisions would be made. But trying to add competition as much as we can.
We saw him run down Lockett on the kick return in that game. I mean, it seemed to show his speed. I mean, does he have the speed to play that free safety spot?
He's got great speed. Tart, if you remember the first game of the year last year, he had that one-handed interception. He covered red line. The red line had a lot of ground covered. So him playing the middle is definitely a possibility. But like I said, he's a pretty darn good strong safety too. So it's who steps up and how the roster shakes out and all that stuff that'll be determined once OTAs comes around.
After Sunday's game, Kyle Shanahan mentioned the energy that DJ Reed and Marcel Harris played with. How is that different? How is that energy that they bring a little bit different?
It's that joyful youth, right? They're out there, they're playing, and now it's just the challenge is to maintain it. Going back to what I said earlier, it's don't ever assume you've got it, and just understand that it's a blessing to be in the positions we're in and go out and play ball. So it's the energy is always good because everyone feeds off each other's energy. Fred Warner had great energy. Buck was playing with great energy. The whole defense was kind of feeding off each other, and when one person makes a play, the other guy wants to make a play, and it's just a trickle-down effect. So now the challenge is consistency being the truest measure of performance. Is we got to go do it again.
That's good. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.